that's enough to make up a nation. OTH Nation. Hi, it's your girl Carla Jamaican here with yet another video for you. And a special shout out to the OTH Nation. And yes, I'm making that a thing. I am making the OTH Nation a thing. Do you know why I'm making the OTH Nation a thing? Because there are an estimated 500,000 of you living in the United States with an OTH discharge. Again, I'm on a roll. This is what, my third video in a short period of time. I don't know what it is. It's like I have a burst of energy that makes me want to put out all this content. It's like a renewed sense of motivation, if you want to say that. I just want to get on it and work for you guys. We're just going to be talking about straight facts. I don't necessarily have a particular point I'm trying to make. I just wanted to talk about some new information, some new developments, and just couple that with some observations that I have made, regarding what's happening with other than honorable processes. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that there's an estimated number of 500,000 veterans living with an OTH discharge at this time. I was trying to do some research to find a breakdown of this number. What branch of the military issues an OTH discharge more or least. So it was very difficult to find this information. As a matter of fact, guys, I didn't find the information. It doesn't appear that there's a breakdown of which branch actually issues an OTH discharge more. So unfortunately, I don't have that information. And if anyone can point us to that information, please leave a comment in the comment section. Let us know, because we want to know what the breakdown is. Which branch are you likely to receive an OTH discharge from? What I did find was this, guys. Of the 500,000 service members that are living with an OTH, 150,000 of that actually came from, were issued as of 2001, since the Iraq and the Afghanistan war. Mr. Brandon Baum, he is a part of the Veterans Law Project at Yale, and he states that this rate is double the amount that were issued an other than honorable discharge in after the Vietnam War, or during the Vietnam War. So that is really, really high. And as a result, Yale actually brought a class action lawsuit against the military regarding this issue. They won. And when they won, they were able to make the process a lot easier for people to upgrade their discharge. One of the changes is that you can now speak directly to a person on the board that is hearing your case via a video conference call. Now, this is interesting, guys, because, and I'll explain why. That's one thing. So you don't have to travel to Washington to speak to someone on the board. You have military members or veterans all over. Not everyone can afford to travel to Washington for a hearing, And as helpful as this is, and as thankful as I am, I feel like this should have been happening. But, it's never too late to make a change. So they've made the change and we're grateful. Another change is that veterans that were initially denied, their discharge application was initially denied, their application was automatically revisited, reevaluated, and I think a lot of veterans were able to receive a discharge upgrade due to this class action lawsuit. So the class action lawsuit was to make it easier for Marine veterans and Navy veterans to get their discharge upgraded. So Yale is busy. They are busy over there working on behalf of veterans in order to make the process easier for you guys. And we are seeing changes, guys. I'm not just here to say military bad. The reason I started these videos is because I wanted to see changes. And if we see the changes, we have to mention it, because this is what we're working for. This is what we want. We want the changes. And guys, we are seeing the changes. And thanks to the class action lawsuit, yes, the process is a lot easier now. And I have to say that I was honestly a little confused when our application was repulled and reevaluated and approved for a discharge upgrade. I thought it was just behind the scenes work with the congressperson and research being done by the board to, you know, give our application a second look and just go ahead and approve us for the discharge upgrade. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think that this Yale class action lawsuit had a lot to do with why our application was pulled again. This class action lawsuit was in 2019, and that was about when we received that letter that they were reevaluating our case. So I am thinking, and the fact that we actually did that hearing over the phone and we didn't have to go to Washington, and the fact that they upgraded the discharge, I'm thinking that this Yale lawsuit had a lot to do with it, guys, honestly speaking. So thank you to the Yale team that is just doing their part to make a difference where this is concerned. I also think that they're about to file a class action lawsuit for the Air Force as well. So guys, they are working hard. They are working hard, and we are grateful. Back to, you know, the statistics of how many service members are living with an OTH discharge. Like I said, I could not find a breakdown for this, but the information that I did find is this. So guys, this information that I have, it may seem unrelated, but I think it does kind of give us an idea or a picture of how strict the various military branches are, and how likely you are to get a discharge with a, you know, with the other than honorable, whatever, from a particular branch. First, I couldn't find a breakdown of the OTH discharge as it relates to each branch. I could find a breakdown of discharge as it related to the COVID-19 vaccine. The Marine Corps has kicked out 1,968 service members, 20% of whom received an honorable discharge. I think this is good. I'm going to tell you why I think this is good. Yes, they are being kicked out for things that we know will later be reversed. At this point, there are even a lot of hospitals that are rehiring nurses and medical staff that were fired because they refused to receive the jab. So they are now rehiring them. And I'm pretty sure there are a lot of lawsuits where that is concerned, you know, being fired or terminated from your job because you didn't take the vaccine. Well, we know the military is different, but even so, yes, they have discharged them for not taking the vaccine, but they discharged them with an honorable discharge. And on top of that, they have actually given them codes where if they do decide to take the vaccine, they can re-enlist in the military. We don't have that cut and dry approach again. They're a little bit more strategic now. And I'm happy for that, so that later on, you don't have people out here with a stigma or struggling to survive simply because they made a decision like that, a decision to not take a vaccine, right? So I as much as I don't like the fact that they were discharged for not taking the vaccine, they have a simple recourse. They provided a simpler way or a simpler path for these service members and veterans to resolve their discharge or resolve, you know, the issue of being discharged because they refused to be vaccinated. It will not affect them afterwards. It won't. If they decide to go back, they can. If they decide to not go back, no one is going to pull a background check and say, oh, you were discharged dishonorably. And then, of course, it doesn't matter if you were discharged because you didn't take the vaccine or for something else. It's just the fact that you were discharged dishonorably, and there's a stigma for that, right? So I think, as much as I hate that they were discharged for not taking the vaccine, I think this is good. It is a more strategic way of discharging service members without it without the negative implications or without it negatively affecting their lives moving forward. The Navy discharged 798 service members, all with honorable discharges. The Army discharged 345 service members, 9 of them with honorable and 36 general under honorable. The Air Force separated 287 airmen, all honorable, and no one was separated from the Space Force regarding the vaccine or not receiving the vaccine. They have a total of 8,400 people in general, and I think that they are almost 100% vaccinated there. By the way, I did not know that the Space Force was a part of the military. I saw that and I laughed. I laughed so hard, and I'm sorry, guys. No offense. No, I don't mean any harm, but I was like, the Space Force? For some strange reason, it tickles me. I'm going to tell you why it tickles me, because I'm thinking, oh, this must be for when we are invaded by aliens. I know it's more serious than that, but guys, I'm sorry. Like, just when I saw it, I was like, oh. No, based on those stats, we know that the Marine Corps is the strictest. I mean, we already knew that the Marine Corps is the strictest when it comes to training and when it comes to task force and, you know, the tasks that they're allotted. But you know, when you, it's almost like when you decide to sign up for the Marines, you kind of are automatically signing up for PTSD. Oh my God, did I just say that? I'm joking. Okay, but you guys know it's hard over there. It is straight HE double hockey sticks over there, okay? We know that the Marine Corps is known for their aggressiveness and the offensive, okay? So by the time we're talking about discharges, you know that they have to be at the top. I hate that I don't have the facts to back up what I'm saying, but I know that they have to be at the highest when it comes to the military discharges. Again, I don't have specific statistics to prove that, you know, they would be the highest, but I also read that 75% of service members are discharged during the first term of their enlistment. 75%. Okay. Now, why they're discharged or what their discharge status is, I don't know, but 75% of them are discharged. And then the Marine Corps will go and recruit 36,000 more in order to replace them. And in general, when I read that particular article, most of the articles that I've read, I'm going to put them in the description, and they generally tend to recruit teenagers. You know, teenagers between 17 and 19. And there was a little argument presented that recruiting teenagers isn't necessarily more beneficial than recruiting people in their mid-20s, you know, moving to their 30s. I guess it's assumed that the younger you are, the more physically able you are, the stronger you are, more agile you are, things like that. But this is being debunked. And so it probably would benefit the Marines to actually start recruiting people that are in their mid-20s with some experience, you know, in order to fulfill the needs of the Marine Corps. And that might help them to help to strengthen their retention rate. Right now, the Army has an 80% retention rate. So they're not having the struggles that the Marines are having. But not to deviate, so in terms of that breakdown, we can assume that the Marine Corps, they issue most of the OTH discharges, and then we can safely assume that the Space Force issues the least number of OTH discharges. So just to discuss the elements of the OTH discharge just a little bit. So guys, OTH bars you from accessing VA benefits by law under 38 U.S. Code Section 5303. I'm going to go through some of the conditions under which you are barred from these benefits. And I have to say, some of them I'm a little bit confused about. So I think I'm going to have another video where we just go through them one by one and discuss why. Because in my opinion, I don't understand why some of these would bar you from getting the VA benefits. Of course, I'm just trying to understand. I'm not trying to tell the military what to do. So please don't get that from what I'm saying. Receive a general court-martial, you are barred from receiving VA benefits with an OTH discharge. If you accepted an undesirable discharge to avoid general court-martial, you're barred. A conscientious objector, you're barred. Desertation, you're barred. Resignation by an officer for the good of the service. How? I have questions about that. Why would you be barred if you resigned for the good of the service? If you went AWOL for 180 days or more, requested release from services during wartime, spying, and felony conviction. So these all will bar you from VA benefits by law. However, if you were insane at the time that these actions were carried out, then you would be an exception. But with that being said, of course, we know you can apply for an upgrade of your discharge under unique circumstances. And of course, that's including the PTSD, the TBI, military sexual trauma, and sexual orientation. As always, I'm encouraging you to do it. Now, they also said that even if you do not fall under these unique circumstances, still go ahead and send in your application. And there is a questionnaire on the va.gov website. There's a questionnaire that you can actually complete in order to see if you're eligible to receive a discharge upgrade. But even so, guys, even if they tell you that you're not eligible, it doesn't matter. Just send in your information, let them review, because it is easier now. It is easier now to get your discharge upgraded. People are working hard to make it easier for you because they're seeing that it's not fair. A lot of the circumstances under which you received your discharge and receiving the discharge and trying to survive out there in the civilian world, it's not fair. It's not fair in a lot of cases. And so I actually see where the military is trying to do better and to improve for the sake of veterans, especially because the suicide rate is so high. So they have to hold themselves accountable and they have to fix it. And it's getting easier, and it's now easier. So still go ahead and submit your application to receive an upgrade, a discharge upgrade, even if you don't seem to be eligible to receive the upgrade. In fact, we know that it's getting better because there has been a dramatic increase in mental health services, I would say, since 2017. The VA provided 270% more mental health visits, guys. They're visiting service members and they're visiting veterans. So they have provided 270% more mental health visits to former service members with OTH discharge in 2021 compared to the 2020 stats, right? And the services that they have provided includes outpatient care, residential rehabilitation care, and acute inpatient psychiatric hospitalization. These changes ever since the expansion of eligibility criteria beginning in 2017 through the public law 115 to 141. The laws are changing. The services that they're providing to OTH veterans are changing. The ease of which you can apply for an upgrade is changing. It's changing, guys. I feel the change, and this is what we want. They also came out with the VA Solid Start in 2019. The VA and the Department of Defense and Homeland Security, which proactively contacts all newly separated service members at least 3 times during their first year of transition from the military. That's huge. That is huge. That is amazing, because it is that transition, during that transition, that we're going to have a lot of confusion, a lot of mental health issues revealing itself. So yes, this is constructive. This is good, and this is useful. Their goal is to establish a strong relationship between the VA and transitioning service members, promoting awareness of VA benefits, services, and partner resources available to them. This is what is needed. It's a lot easier, guys. I'm saying it's easy because I know, like, compared to when I was researching back in 2019, and even back in 2017, when I was trying to get information on how to apply for a discharge upgrade, it was like pulling teeth to get the information. Finally, guys, I know that I have a video on here where I list some of the benefits available to you guys with an OTH discharge, but I wanted to go back and add some other things. So with the OTH discharge, you qualify for life insurance. Now, everybody qualifies for life insurance. That's not something that, you know, that's specific to people with OTH discharge. I think even people with dishonorable discharge, they even qualify for life insurance, but that's still good to know. OTH veterans, they also can get burial benefits depending on the characterization of their discharge. So that's one thing that I didn't mention in a previous video. Now, like I said, these are some unusual benefits that you don't necessarily think about, but it's still good to think about them, and it's still good to know that you have them. Okay, so life insurance, burial benefits, and guys, this is even the best part. You may qualify for an OTH discharge VA loan, even with an OTH discharge, depending on the characterization of your discharge. So yes, so with a VA-backed loan, you may qualify for benefits like no down payment or lower mortgage and lower insurance premium. A private lender provides your loan, but the VA guarantees a portion of it. If you are found ineligible, the VA will issue you an FHA certificate of veteran status concurrent with the VA's notice of denial of eligibility for the VA program. So yeah, that home loan, you can still go ahead and apply for it through the VA, but you have to be specific. Ask for that one that is backed by the VA, but you still get the loan through a private lender. You just get, the VA just funds a portion of that loan. But guys, that was the fruits of my research. I'm sorry if it seems all over the place. In my mind, it all makes sense and it all comes together. You know, I think we want to know how likely it is that you would receive a discharge from an OTH discharge from whatever branch. And that might actually help you to make a decision in deciding what branch of the military you want to enlist in. And with all of that, you know, I just wanted to bring to the fore that things are changing. So even though it might be a little bit more difficult depending on what branch you enlist in, and the likeliness of you receiving an OTH from whatever branch, the fact is if you do, it's a little easier now to upgrade your discharge, and there are recourses that you can take in order to rectify or resolve your discharge. So the military is working it out, and I am happy that they are. Guys, tell me what you think. Do you think that the military deserves praise for making such drastic changes, for reaching out, for helping our veterans? Do you think that they will ultimately change the way that they do issue these discharges and the frequency in which they do issue the OTH discharge? Do you think that there will be a difference with that at sometime in the future? Do you think that we still need to be riding them hard to ensure that they give service members and veterans their due and just reward, their due and just benefits? I hope you enjoyed my video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, like, share, support your girl. My Cash App and my PayPal information is in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Love you all. Have a fabulous day. Bye.
Yeah.